Good evening. Today is May 27th, and today I'll continue to be talking about the coronavirus. So the first piece of news is that the tally of coronavirus deaths in the U.S. has surpassed 100,000. More than 100,000 people who had the coronavirus have died in the United States just over 4 months after the government confirmed the first known case. And this death toll is far higher than any other nation in the world. The total exceeds the number of U.S. military combat facilities in every conflict since the Korean War, and it matches the toll of the United States of the 1968 flu pandemic, and it is approaching the 116,000 people killed in another flu outbreak a decade before that. So the pandemic is on track to be one of the country's deadliest public health disasters since the 1918 flu pandemic, which, if you don't know, you can watch one of my previous videos. I did extensive research and information about that. So I think this number is truly a milestone, and it really truly shows how far the coronavirus can spread and how quickly and damaging it can kill. And also, this is just, I think, a show of what a virus can do that perhaps nothing else could. It changes our lives. We have to be social distancing, and I think it really changes the world, and I think the world will never be the same again after this pandemic. The second thing that I'd like to talk about is that today, I'm sure you've heard, SpaceX and NASA were preparing to launch the first aircraft made by the U.S. into the air after 9 years, but it was delayed due to bad weather, and as a result, the launch will be moved to Saturday. And this launch is mainly from SpaceX, which is a private company owned by Elon Musk, and also cooperating with the space agency NASA. So I think this will be the first launch of people by a private company, and I feel like it really shows how private companies can actually sometimes do a greater job, or perhaps not greater, but do a perhaps faster job than the government could, because there aren't so many laws that have to be followed. And I think the launching of there's going to be 2 astronauts aboard this spacecraft, and I think this is just going to be a truly historically changing moment, and it's going to be making history. The third thing that I'd like to talk about is that Lyme disease is the Lyme disease season is approaching. So Lyme disease is quite a serious illness transmitted by ticks, and some of the basic symptoms of a Lyme infection, fever, malaise, fatigue, can resemble Covid-19, which is something that nobody needs to worry about. And in addition, contracting serious illness like Lyme could put you at greater risk from COVID. So here I just wanted to share some tips that you can still enjoy the coolness of forests and hikes while being able to avoid ticks and this serious disease. So understanding more of the ticks that transmit the virus, or the other animals that do spread the virus, will be helpful. And Lyme disease is most prevalent on the eastern seaboard of the United States, from Virginia to Maine. And while its range is expanding, and there are hotspots all across the country, so I feel like if you can search perhaps if your area has many Lyme disease cases, then maybe just avoid going to hikes in your area. But if your area doesn't, then just searching your area may be a good idea. And also, ticks like the woods, so they tend to be much scarce on lawns, and they're extremely abundant in small forest patches of a couple acres or less. The Lyme disease ticks usually will be out when it's 45 degrees Fahrenheit or roughly 7 Celsius, and you basically just wear long sleeves and long pants to avoid ticks, and tucking your pants into your socks might be a good idea so ticks can't crawl up your legs. I think for clothes you can also just spray them with the insecticide permethrin, which kills ticks on contact, but this shouldn't be sprayed on the skin. You can also hike on paths and avoid going off them, because then it puts you directly into leaves and bushy areas that ticks loves. And inspect your clothes and body for ticks if you get home, as quick removal is extremely important, and diseases usually spread after ticks have been attached for at least 24 hours. So, above are just some tips that I share to try to help you avoid getting the disease while just enjoy a nice walk in the forest while the weather is extremely hot. That's it. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a good day. Thank you.